Hello, and welcome back to This Week in Games. This is technically the third time we've done this, so we'll call this episode 3. And let's start with some housekeeping. From my side of the show, the housekeeping is this. Still playing Biomutant, near the end. Haven't decided, because of the time frame that we're in, we're now on the 4th of June. And I don't know if the next game I'm going to play is going to be Mass Effect 2, which I do really want to get to, or because it's going to be available at the time I get Biomutant done, if I'm going to roll straight into Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I haven't decided yet. I do feel like if I'm going to do the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, what a mouthful, then I'm probably going to play it as a New Game Plus. Because, although, should I play it as a New Game Plus or should I just start the whole thing again? I don't know. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you'd rather see. Would it be Mass Effect? Would it be Final Fantasy? And if it is Final Fantasy, would you rather see me start it from fresh? Or would you rather see me play a New Game Plus with my already semi-leveled up character? But from my side of things, that's the housekeeping news. Have you got any housekeeping news, Richard?
Yeah, a little. We've finished Ratchet 3. That was an adventure. I was still working on the Fable. I've been trying to put together Warhammer video, and I'm kind of a little bit stuck in the mud with it, if I'm perfectly honest. Like, full transparency. I want to include certain things into it, and I'm just finding it difficult to be able to do some of that. But hopefully, should be something along those lines coming soon. Fable is still ongoing. I'm trying some new things with that, and that's kind of all I've got.
Excellent. Right. So that gets you up to date with where we're at and what we're doing in terms of the channel. So today, guys, we have only 4 pieces of news. It's a really slow news week, but that's to be expected with E3 and all of the E3 surrounded news situations that are going to be happening next week with Summer Games Fest, E3, IGN, and the whole craziness that is going to be next week. Next week, we will try and do a news video next week, but it's going to very much be dependent on what is happening in terms of editing, because there's a lot of stuff coming Wednesday, Thursday, there's a lot of work goes in, and there is only the 2 of us doing it. So we'll try. If we can get it out, we will get it out. If you don't get a news video next week, on the Saturday, you might have to get it a little bit late, or it might not turn up at all, and you'll just have to wait till the Friday after. But we will keep you informed as to what's going on there. So, the first news article of the day is Sony delays new God of War to 2022. Shock, shock, horror, horror. Like, we didn't see this one coming. This comes from Michael McWhirter of Polygon. Sony's next God of War game, originally slated for 2021 release on PlayStation 5, has been pushed to 2022. PlayStation Studios head Herman Holst and developer Santa Monica Studios confirmed the delay on Wednesday. There's a little bit of a read up here about it. Holst, in an interview posted on the PlayStation blog, which we'll get to more parts of that after this, because that's the second news article, said that the sequel to 2018's God of War was pushed to give Santa Monica Studios more time to develop the title. So we have 2 very big narrative-driven games in development. Horizon Forbidden West and God of War. Both of those are frankly affected by access to performance capture and talent. Obviously, due to the situation. Pandemics and all that crazy. So, Richard, is it a big shock, horror for you? Is it a big surprise that we're not getting God of War when they said we were going to get God of War?
I don't think it's surprising considering the state of everything at the moment. Delays and things like that. Plus, having more development time is never a bad thing. They can iron out more things. Really, get things cemented
key,
in.
Isn't it? That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as a case of some of the development. Bear in mind, in 2021, it would have had a 3-year development sort of time period of 3 years to be developed, which is short development time to start with, regardless of all the other things going on in the world. 3 years is a quick turnaround for a game. Even if it is that you've got the engine set and all of that, that's still a relatively quick turnaround for something the scale, scope and size, something like a God of War. To then factor in that God of War is essentially a movie in the way that it's made. The entire game, cutscenes, the in-game animation, like everything, it's all motion capture. Everything's done with the little ping pong suits and the motion capture. So the fact that they've had to spend all of 2020 and all of 2021, so really 2 years out of them 3 not really being able to do motion capture. There was no way on this planet that they were going to be able to release this game this year. That's the logic that you have to go with. You have to be sensible about it. And it's all well and good saying, oh, but I want God of War. That's fair enough. Do you want God of War or the way we got it? Or do you want God of War where they've had to rig the characters and they've had to puppet the characters and it's not as fluid and the motion's not as good, and you know what I mean? So
do you want God of War or do you want Cyberpunk God of War?
Not even to that extent. It's just like the things that make God of War. Like, God of War is the first game that I've ever seen, and I could be wrong. Please feel free to leave a comment and let us know if I'm wrong. But it's the first game that I know of that used the one-shot. It's a one-shot. From the start menu to the end credits of the game, and even through the credits of the game. The camera doesn't cut. It's one shot through the whole game. And I don't know of any other game that does that. And to get that kind of quality, to get that kind of sort of cinematic setup, you've got to be doing it properly. You can't do like old school rigged characters. It's got to be motion capture. It's got to be done right. And I'd rather them take another year and a half, however long it's going to take them, and come at me with something that they're proud to put out, but that I'm also extremely excited to play. Because yeah, as much as ultimately the story won't change, the interactions and the set pieces and the things that get you to the end will have suffered, and I don't want that. I'd rather have the highest quality God of War that they can give me and wait a little bit longer. It's not like we're hurting for games. We have release dates for several really good games coming out, like Dying Light, like Far Cry. There's and obviously Battlefield's going to be getting announced for this year, and there'll be Call of Duty this year, and there's going to be plenty of games to play this year. We're not going to hurt by not having God of War, in my opinion. Did you play God of War, the PS4?
I've not. I've seen a few little bits and bobs from it.
Oh, it's right up your street. I think you'd like it. It's like taking Norse mythology and taking Dragon Age and then smashing them together, but making it more cinematic. Because it's actually an RPG. That's what a lot of people don't seem to understand. It's an RPG, and the beginning of the game is linear, and you get to a certain point in the game, and it's like, ta-da! And it's now open world, and you can just, and it's really cool. You'll be able to play it soon, very soon, like from tonight. I have plans. Anyhow, that is the opener to today's show. Woohoo! So, this is the next piece of news that we've got for you this week. And apparently I'm popular. And that's not the news. This next piece of news is from IGN, Matt TM Kim. PlayStation Studios boss details Bend Studios' new game, PC releases, and more. So Herman Holst held a nice little interview about what's going on with PlayStation and all of its stuff. So let's get stuck into it. PlayStation Studios boss Herman Holst has given a new interview with the PlayStation blog where he offers updates on the state of Sony's first-party game developers, including Bend Studios' work on a new original game and the studio's growing interest in PC gaming. Holst's new interview already dropped a big bomb when he announced that God of War 2, previous news article, will be delayed until 2022. Furthermore, both the new God of War game and Gran Turismo 7 are now both cross-gen PS4 and PS5 titles. It's huge news. While that clears the way for Horizon Forbidden West planned for holiday 2021 launch, Holst has shared details on what PlayStation's other studios are up to. For instance, Holst has revealed that Bend Studios is working on an exciting new IP that builds on top of the deep open-world systems that they developed with Days Gone. An earlier report said that Bend Studios initially pitched a sequel to Days Gone that was rejected. After having been put on a few Naughty Dog projects, potentially a new Uncharted and The Last of Us multiplayer, Holst confirms Bend is actually working on an entirely new game. Bend also posted a tweet talking about being excited for the future of this new game. Regarding PlayStation's decision to release first-party games on PC, such as Horizon Zero Dawn and Days Gone, Holst says that their success has shown an appetite for PlayStation games outside of the console's ecosystem. But Holst also emphasizes that PlayStation will remain the best place to play the PlayStation Studio titles at launch. Holst seemed to indicate that the 2-year wait between releasing Days Gone on PS4 and PC was intentional, and that for now PlayStation is committed to keeping first-party games launches strictly on PlayStation hardware. Finally, Holst talked about the state of the Japanese development teams. The company recently reorganized the Japan studio. Key talent left the studio in the months leading up to the announcement, but Holst says PlayStation's Japanese influence is a core part of its DNA. Among PlayStation's Japanese studios, Polyphony Digital is currently working on Gran Turismo 7, and Holst says Team Asobi is being built to develop a franchise for all ages with global appeal. There's no word on whether PlayStation is holding an E3 event of any capacity at the moment, and the company has just shared a deep dive on Horizon Forbidden West, as well as key updates on God of War 2. The article also goes on to mention in there as well that the reason that there's no release date for Horizon Forbidden West at the moment is that they haven't 100% nailed down if they can hit that date, and until they can say a certainty that they can hit the date, they don't want to give the date. But they are still on track. It's what it states in the article. So Richard, well, how does that come at you? How do you feel about that? Because me and you have privately, outside of these news articles, had the discussion about Sony and about the restructuring of Japan studios and about the fact that there was sort of seemingly stepping away, and it seems like that's not the case. They understand that Japan studios is the DNA of the company.
It's always a little bit spooky to reorganize something that's especially very deeply rooted. Primarily, the public opinion can be the public opinion. What matters is the people internally. As long as they're still getting the creative freedoms that they need, the resources required in order to fulfill those dreams, and that they can still produce fantastic games, fantastic new ideas, concepts, go outside of the box as they've done in the past, then that's all that really matters.
Yeah. I think it's good that essentially what they're doing is Team Asobi is making more. They're turning Astro Bot into a franchise. That's exactly what they're doing. They've taken I call it a demo. It isn't a demo. It is a game. It's just a very small game. But the game that comes with all PlayStation 5s, that shows off the control pad, what it's capable of, what it can do, and all of the rest of it. I think they didn't expect it to be as well received as it was. I don't think they expected it to get rated as a 9 out of 10 game and all of this goodwill. I think they're turning that into a fully fledged game. I also think when we finally get PlayStation VR 2, they'll also have some sort of sequel to the VR game that they brought out. Yeah. PS4. In terms of Bend Studios, I think not doing Days Gone 2 is not a bad thing. And I personally, see one of my beard hairs, do my head in. I personally think that what they're trying to do with Bend Studios is they're trying to pull a Naughty Dog. They've got Days Gone, and it's done pretty well, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Yeah, it might not have done the numbers of other games, but it's a very good game, and it's done okay. But why go directly to a sequel when they can start another franchise? And then, after this comes out and takes off, then you swing back around and do your Days Gone 2, because you've given people the gap, and they've got the want. And you've learned more and built new systems, and your Days Gone 2 is now exclusively on PlayStation 5. No PS4 version, meaning you've got more horsepower to do more stuff with it. Then you swing back around to the sequel of your new IP that you've got coming out. And I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to get Bend to have two franchises on the go, alternating between them as they go, and build Bend up a bit. In my opinion, that's where I think it's going. Whether or not that's what Bend wanted to do is a whole different kettle of fish and a whole different story. I agree with PlayStation's plans at the moment to... last week I didn't agree. Last week I was furious. But I agree on holding the release date for Horizon back, because what I don't want is the Days Gone and The Last of Us situation again. I don't want to get me hopes up and be told I'm getting it in May, and then no, now you've got to wait another month and a half or another month, and you're getting it in June or July or pushed back, because that just upsets everybody. I'd rather them go, yeah, we can hit this date, whatever the date is, 17th of November, whatever. And then, boom, they hit that date. Now, I also think the reason that they haven't dated that game is because we're a week away from finding out what's going on at E3. And there's a little company, just a tiny little company, you know what I mean? Like, they're not that big, just a tiny little company called Nintendo that are going to be turning up with a tiny little game, you know, not a big game, just a tiny little game called Breath of the Wild 2. And if you recall, Horizon originally came out almost, well, a month between them, I think, with Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild just gobbled them all up. Now, thankfully, the quality and the legacy of PlayStation was there for Horizon. So after everything faded away from Breath of the Wild and it stopped taking over the world, people then found Horizon, which admittedly, probably, if you want to get super mentally technical about it, isn't as good a game as Breath of the Wild, but still was a great game. It's an 8, 9 out of 10 game, no question. It's just Breath of the Wild is a 10 out of 10 game. That's the difference. And this time round, there's a lot more parity between them, because we've now found out that they are allowing you, outside of settlements, they are allowing you to do the Breath of the Wild style climb wherever the hell you want. If you can see it, you can climb it. Which you couldn't do in the first game. So there's a lot more commonality between the two games. So I think it's clever of Sony to go, we know Breath of the Wild's coming out. We know that as much as Horizon is a big deal, it's not Breath of the Wild big deal. It's like a Saints Row coming out at the same time as Grand Theft Auto. Like, no. Give them some breathing room. Because Grand Theft Auto is eating every single thing around it. Just like Call of Duty eats every single thing around it. So it's a clever move. I like it because I don't want diminished sales for Horizon. Because it's a fantastic franchise and I think it's going to be amazing. So again, clever move from Sony. As much as it pains me to say this, and it means that I might have to wait a little bit to get the game, it's a good move. Everything I've heard from them, I'll be enjoying. I'm still furious and massively upset that there's no information at the moment about some sort of showcase, because right now the only games we know about, because they also mention in this article that Sony have 25 properties in development. Half of them new IP. And what do we know? We know we're getting God of War, and we know we're getting Horizon. That's it. We know two of them. Well, and Gran Turismo.
Yeah. I think it can be a smart idea to hold your cards close, but don't hold them for too long.
I agree. 100% agree. But yes, I like this news. To me, this is good news, because Sony are starting to open up about stuff, and the news that's coming out, it's not the best news, it's not get hype news, but it's important news, and it's clever that they're doing this stuff. And as far as delaying God of War, again, like I said in the last news article, I think it's the right move. But now, you don't need two AAA huge massive games, and clearly Horizon's coming out later on in the year. You don't want Horizon having to butt heads with God of War and Breath of the Wild 2. And you don't want God of War having to butt heads with Horizon and Breath of the Wild 2. So, and Breath of the Wild doesn't have to butt heads with anyone, because it sits in the atmosphere above them all.
Yeah.
But that's just the way I feel about it. So there you go. Excellent stuff. Right, guys, this next piece of news comes from Game Informer Daniel Tack. No Man's Sky Prisms update is out now. Hello Games continues to update and improve No Man's Sky. Coming in hot after the recent Mass Effect tie-in, the latest update hitting today, which was actually 2 days ago as of this recording, is known as Prisms. Prisms is largely focused on improving visuals. as a massive overhaul to existing object structures and more. Everything from planets to creatures to weather effects has been given significant tuning, down to light refracting rain and new lighting effects to discover in cavernous systems located. That does not make sense to me. Anyhow, it's how it reads. This all comes with numerous new effects to check out. So, Richard, what do you think about this? Because you and I have an illustrious career with the old No Man's Sky. We've been on and off that game for many a year.
Yeah. I think it's a fantastic VR game. Every time I play it, I throw the headset on. It's definitely a really, really immersive VR experience.
It is a very, very good VR experience. I've only been on it in VR once at yours, and it freaked the holy shite out of me. And I didn't realise just how big the ship was, and just how big the things are, because you play it in the 2D plane on your TV, and it's like, oh yeah, this is cool. Oh yeah, this is good. Fizzling about and you're shooting your little things, and then it's like, just drop down this little hole I've made. And then in VR, you're looking down and you're like, fuck no, I am not dropping in there. That's a massive hole. It gets very freaky, and then you're flipping upside down in your ship and doing like, oh, it's an impressive state of affairs. Love No Man's Sky. It is, for me, it is the rags to riches story in gaming. Like, it started out with such disdain and hatred because they promised so much and delivered so little, to now be where we're at, where they have literally overhauled that game twice at this point, and it's still relevant. I haven't seen the graphics in this new update, but I will see the graphics in this new update at some point. I just love it. Like I say, the missions, it's for me, I always look at No Man's Sky as being the non-blocky, universe-expanding Minecraft. Because that's how we play. We find a planet that we like, and we set up. And then we build. And we don't just, little build. We build.
Oh, yes. The glorious people must expand.
Oh, no. That's an inside joke you don't understand yet, but one day you will see the glorious people. Yeah, so basically, this is good news. This is just more No Man's Sky good news. Like, updating the graphics and making it look prettier. Not a problem with that. It's obviously gotten its next-gen patches. Constant updates on the PC. It's one of the still few games that allow cross-platform play. So if I want to play on Series X or if I want to play on PS5, I have that ability, I have that option, and you can still play on the PC. Yeah, it's a good bit of news. I'm pleased with this. We might have to jump back in. Your base is going to look so different now, because obviously they've given material sort of properties to stuff. So metal now looks like metal and is reflective and shiny, because the game never had reflections.
No, it didn't.
Shockingly, all this time we played it, I never even realised, but it didn't have reflections. And now it's got screen space reflections. So that could be interesting.
It's definitely
and I'm
cool
reckoning
to find out.
That must be hard to do with a game where you can manipulate the terrain. Like, everything about the game's procedurally generated, so,
it's going to have to update them, which is going to be, chunky on the process unless they've figured out a way to do it. Maybe it's like a delayed update.
Not sure. I'm sure we can test this theory when we eventually get in. Right, yes. And we're on. No Man's Sky. Absolute amazing game. And the final news article of the day is from Matthew Reynolds of Eurogamer. And it is this. we finally have the E3 2021 schedule. Conference dates, times, and streams announced so far as of Thursday, the 3rd of June. So there's still time for the companies to be adding some bits and bobs, but we've got a lot. We have got a lot. So, rather than read through a whole article, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little rundown, and I'm going to possibly bring up somewhere on screen a visual representation of this rundown for you. But we have. I'm going to do all of these because obviously a lot of people that you watch are from USA, and you get USA times, so there's not many people do British Standard Time, UK time. So I'm going to give all of the times in UK time. So we kick off on Saturday, June 5th, which is the day that you'll be seeing this. The Guerrilla Collective Part 1 at 4 p.m. Then we move to Wednesday, June 9th, where we get the Battlefield reveal at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We then move to Summer Games Fest Kickoff Live with Jeff Keighley and a lot of apparent trailers. And I know I shouldn't be mentioning this just at this point right here, but there's a big heavy fucking rumour that Elden Ring is going to turn up at that event. Thursday, June 10th at 7 p.m. Now, I don't know how you pronounce this. It's either cock or Koch, but it's one of the two. I'm going to call them Koch. Koch Primetime, Friday, June 11th at 8 p.m. And I'm excited for this one because there's potential that we might be getting some exciting stuff. I'm not saying any more because we've got videos coming on this subject. The Guerrilla Collective Part 2 is the Saturday, June 12th at 4 o'clock. We then have Ubisoft, also Saturday, June 12th at 8 o'clock. We move to Sunday, June 13th, and on Sunday, June 13th, we have Xbox and Bethesda's Showcase at 6 p.m. Square Enix Presents at 8:15. The PC Gaming Show and the Future Games Show currently don't have times, but confirmed to be coming on Sunday, June 13th. Big day. Then, a huge one that a lot of people are waiting for. On Tuesday, June 15th, we have the Nintendo Direct E3 2021 at 5 p.m. And then on Thursday, July 22nd, because this is not just a 3-day E3 situation, this is over a month of gaming news. With no time, we'll have EA Play. That's Thursday, July 22nd. Now, they're all the companies that have confirmed dedicated showings through the ESA, but we're not done. Because there is also Gearbox and Devolver Digital, who are supposed to be doing something on Saturday, June 12th. Back for Blood and 24 Entertainment are doing something on June 13th. On the 14th, Monday, we're supposed to be hearing from Take-Two Interactive, Mythical Games, Freedom Games, Razer, Capcom, and Intellivision. And on June 15th, the Tuesday, we're supposed to be hearing from Bandai Namco, Eureka Games, and capping the whole thing off with the first ever E3 2021 awards show. So, Richard, that is the rundown of all things games, all things crazy, all things mental. What do you think? There's a lot. Like, I see
There
that,
is a
and I don't get excited. On a normal year, I'd be like, yes. This year, now that we've started doing the tubes, I'm just looking at it and going, oh my god, so much work. So much, so much work. So many things to do. It should be good. It should be good.
It should be. I've got high hopes for a few things that I hope I'll see.
Which, on that note, you're getting a bonus this week's in games. This week, which will be the This Week in Games bonus E3 2021 predictions. And what we're doing, because I can't be asked with all this Summer Games Fest, iGen Games, this and it's E3. The whole bloody thing, I am counting the whole thing as E3. So anything from the 1st of June to the 1st of August, I am counting as the E3 bundle. And the predictions count to anything that comes in that window. I think in that time frame, because I do feel like there are things going to happen, which obviously I'll explain when we get to the predictions video. But anything within that time period, I'm classing as the E3 thing. I think the reason that we've still got the outliers and things happening beforehand, things happening after, is because we still are in the tail end of the global situation. But I think next year, when things are 100% back to normal, it'll be the 3-day E3 thing again. I just think they're all going to revert back to it. But that's in an upcoming video, so keep an eye out for the special bonus episode this week that will be our predictions.
Yes.
But yes, I'm pleased to see that there's a few companies on that list. There's a lot of companies missing. I am not 100% sure why I haven't seen Sega's name in that list that I've just read. But Sega are there, 100%. But like I say, there's a whole mess of things that are going together and doing all. So yes, guys, you've now got a bit of a schedule, and where's my hand? There's my hand. This is the hand I need. I'm still trying to learn this. Somewhere that way. Point towards the camera a bit. That way, yeah. Up there. No, there. Up there. Somewhere up there will be a little breakdown for you. Even if I've got to put them above, all the way across the top above us, you'll get a visual representation of everything confirmed so far. And we all know Jeffy Grubb. We all know Jeffy Grubb's gaming mess, as he likes to call it. Because, you know, it's all a fucking shit show at the minute, and everything's coming here, there, and everywhere, and EA used to be first, and now EA are in the end of July. They're not just, like, late, they're in the end of July. So don't even ask, it's all over the shop. But it should be fun. It's going to be hard work, and we'll do the best we can to keep on top of every bit of news we can find for you, and we'll live stream everything. Believe me, if it's on, I will live stream it, regardless of, you know. The one thing I've come to realize is I can't just do the things that I like. So it's about live streaming everything. So if I get the option to do, if I can do the PC gaming show, I will do it. If the PC gaming show is on at the same time as something else that I feel is more important, say Ubisoft's conference is like on at the same time as the PC gaming show, then what we might have to do is we might have to live stream as much of the PC gaming show as we can, cut off, and then go to Ubi. Because I can't be missing the likes of a Ubisoft conference, or a WB conference, or a Square Enix. They're all... Well, like I say, we'll figure it out, and we'll work it out, and we'll make sure we cover as much of it as we can for you. Alright guys, so that has been this week's news. It's not been a very long one, but doesn't mean anything. Good things come in small packages. So yes, thank you for watching. I hope you like the new setup that we've got. We're trying something different. And we will see you next Saturday. Have fun. I know we will.
Oh, yes, we will.